There is a reason your prayers have gone unanswered, a reason your affirmations have echoed into silence, a reason your efforts have not borne fruit. You have been speaking the wrong language to the most powerful force in your life. You shout words into the void, I am successful, I am powerful, I am free, but nothing happens. And so you wonder, is it me? Am I broken? Is destiny deaf to my desire? No, the failure is not in your spirit. It is in your strategy. You see, the subconscious mind does not understand words. It does not respond to logic. It does not obey syllables. It does not kneel to language. It speaks another tongue, a deeper one, a sacred one. The subconscious mind speaks in pictures, in symbols, in images soaked in emotion. It is the dreamer behind your eyes, the architect behind your action, the silent master pulling the strings of your fate. And unless you learn to speak its language, you will go on planting seeds in sand. You will go on knocking at a door that never opens. You will go on building castles in air and waking up to rubble. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is law, and it has governed your life since the hour you were born. Yet no one taught you how to wield it. They gave you thoughts, but not images. They gave you effort, but not imagination. They taught you to speak, but not to see. And so your reality became a copy of the same pictures you've been replaying in your mind since youth. But what if that could change? What if the life you see is not the life you are stuck with, but the life you are still creating by the pictures you continue to hold? What if everything begins with image, not word, not reason, not even action, but image? You have been told that as a man thinketh, so is he, and it is true. But what is thought, if not image made alive? The conscious mind speaks in sentences, but the subconscious, it speaks in visions. It is blind to grammar. It is deaf to declarations, but it will obey, without hesitation, the picture you hold with emotion. It does not ask, is this true? It only asks, is this clear? And once it sees, it believes. And once it believes, it builds. You see, the world you walk through is a reflection of the world you have imagined. The conditions you call reality are the scaffolding of old mental pictures made real through time, repetition, and emotional charge. If you wish to know what a man truly believes, look not at what he says. Look at what surrounds him. Look at what follows him. Look at what he tolerates and what he attracts. Because belief is not a word. Belief is an image burned so deeply into the mind that it moves a man, even when he is unaware of it. You may say you want abundance, but if your inner theater plays a film of lack, that is what will become flesh. You may say you believe in yourself, but if the image within you is small, unworthy, afraid, then you will live as one who is small, unworthy, and afraid. And this is the silent tragedy of millions, that they work hard to change the outer world while the image inside remains untouched. They pray for new circumstances while preserving the same mental scenes. They try to outrun their reflection, not realizing it runs faster. And so they live in cycles. Different jobs, same struggles, different partners, same pain, different goals, same defeat. Because they never learned the cause is not out there. It never was. The cause is in the picture, and the picture is in the mind. You must understand this before we go further. Nothing in your life changes until the image changes. For the image is the command, it is the blueprint, it is the signal to the invisible builders of destiny who work tirelessly beneath the surface of your awareness. And when that image shifts, truly shifts, the world must follow. So now, my friend, we turn to the great truth that you are not bound by the images of your past. You are not a prisoner of the pictures you did not choose. You are the artist, the director, the projector, and you're about to learn how to create again, not with effort, not with strain, but with the eternal tools of the mind, imagination, emotion, repetition. Let us begin where all creation begins, with the image. The subconscious mind does not hear. It sees. It does not analyze. It accepts. It does not question the truth of a message. It obeys the vividness of a vision. And this, I tell you, is the first great secret of self-mastery. You must see what you intend to become long before the world reflects it. For your subconscious mind is not a student of language. It is a servant to imagery, and it accepts only one kind of instruction, the picture. Not the picture on your wall, not the one in a photograph, but the image etched on the screen of your inner world, the mind's eye. That silent projector inside you is always running, and the image it plays most often becomes the identity you carry, and the identity you carry becomes the life you live. This is not mysticism. This is mechanics. Your subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Say it again, silently. It does not know the difference. If the image is clear, if the emotion is strong, if the scene is repeated, then it accepts it. And once accepted, it acts. It alters your posture. It shifts your tone. It colors your perception. It filters your choices. And without your conscious knowing, it sets a new course for your life as faithfully as a compass locked to true north. But here is where most men fall short. They speak greatness while picturing failure. They say, "I am confident," while holding the image of rejection. They declare success while imagining the embarrassment of defeat. And so the subconscious, blind to contradiction, obeys the picture, not the proclamation. This is why affirmations fail. This is why prayers go unanswered. This is why effort alone exhausts, but does not elevate. Because you cannot speak your way out of a picture. You must replace the picture. You cannot force the mind with logic. You must guide it with imagery. Let me be plain. The subconscious is like fertile soil. Words are seeds, but without a picture, they are dry. It is the image, moistened with emotion, that allows the seed to take root. And once rooted, it grows, quietly, consistently, until one day you wake up inside the life you planted years before. Most men never make the connection. They say, "How strange. I feared this would happen." And it did. Or, "I always knew I'd end up here." Or, "I pictured it exactly like this." Yes, of course you did. You rehearsed it. You didn't intend it, but you pictured it. And the subconscious listened. It always listens. But it never listens to your lips, only to your lens. So now I ask you, what image are you showing your mind? Daily, quietly, unconsciously? What film is running in the background while you chase your goals in the foreground? Because if you do not change the film, you will never change the result. Not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It does not give you what you say, it gives you what you see. What you hold in your inner world, it shapes in your outer one. Look around you. This is where we must begin again, with the truth that frightens some and frees others. Your current reality is not random. It is a mirror, and it reflects the image you've been projecting all along. Your current reality is not random. It is a mirror, and it reflects the image you've been projecting all along. The shape of your life is the shadow of your inner picture. You may not have chosen it consciously, but you rehearsed it. You returned to it. You lived inside it long before it ever lived outside you. The job, the relationship, the debt, the silence, the struggle, the stuckness, all of it. A photograph taken from the film you've been playing in your mind for years. This is not blame. This is not shame. This is power. Because if your reality is the product of a picture, then you, my friend, are the artist. And if the canvas displeases you, you do not scream at the frame. You do not curse the colors. You do not scold the gallery. You return to the easel. You pick up your brush, and you begin again with a new image. Most people do not know they are painting. Their brush moves unconsciously. Their strokes are guided by old memory, old pain, old impressions. They imagine what they fear and fear what they imagine. And that cycle, unbroken, becomes a life. You hear them say, "I knew this would happen. I saw it coming. I could feel it." Yes, of course you could. Because you were already there, in your mind. You had built the room, you had drawn the door, you had stepped into the scene long before your feet touched the floor. The subconscious does not care if the image is good or bad. It does not choose between joy or sorrow, wealth or lack, triumph or defeat. It only says, "Show me the picture, and I will make it real." And the clearer the picture, the more faithfully it builds. Understand this: your outer world is a slave to your inner one. The people, the opportunities, the failures, the victories, they bend around the image you carry within. It is the hidden law of vibration that the dominant image you hold becomes a signal, drawing to it that which matches its frequency. If you carry the picture of a beggar, you will find closed doors. If you carry the picture of a king, you will find invitations. And no, this is not magic. It is not mysticism. It is alignment. Your subconscious mind cannot help but create what it believes. And it believes what it sees, not with eyes, but with imagination. So the question is not, how do I fix my life? The question is, what image am I living from? Because a man may change his clothes, his job, his address, his friends, but if he does not change the picture, he will meet the same fate in a different form. This is why some grow rich and lose it all, why some find love and sabotage it, why some start anew, only to end up in the old pattern, because while the scenery changed, the inner image remained untouched. But here lies your opportunity to interrupt the cycle, to take hold of the brush, to dissolve the image you inherited and create one you choose, not with words, not with force, but with clarity. So do not ask the world to change. Ask yourself, what vision am I rehearsing? What picture have I played so often it now plays me? And most of all, what image, if I held it long enough, could make all things new? For once that answer is found, and once that image is planted, you will have done something few men ever do. You will have begun to consciously create. And creation, my friend, requires not just image, but color. Let us now turn to the one element that gives power to every picture you hold: emotion. Emotion, it is the color of the image, the fire in the furnace, the current that electrifies the wire. A picture without emotion is like a body without breath. It cannot move, it cannot live, it cannot create. You may imagine a grand vision, a home, a victory, a life beyond limits, but if that image is cold, flat, dull, it will fall from the mind like dust from a windowsill. The subconscious does not respond to blandness. It responds to feeling, to sensation, to vividness. It does not remember what you tell it casually. It remembers what you tell it passionately. Think now of your greatest memories. Do you remember the dialogue, the date, the temperature, the precise words? Number. You remember how it felt. You remember the brightness, the tension, the awe. You remember the colors, the music, the pulse. Emotion makes the picture real. It tells the subconscious, this is important, this is alive, this must be stored, this must be obeyed. The more intense the emotion, the deeper the impression. This is why trauma lives on. It imprints the mind with such force that the image becomes permanent. But here is what they did not teach you. Emotion can also free you, not just wound you, not just trap you. You may use the same tool that once enslaved you to become the architect of liberation. Just as a storm leaves its mark, so too can joy, so too can gratitude, so too can ecstasy of vision. Most people try to visualize their future from a state of boredom, of numbness, of doubt, and then they say, it didn't work. Of course it didn't. They were drawing a masterpiece with a dry brush. The man who changes his life is the one who learns to feel the vision before it arrives. He smiles in the house he has not yet built. He walks in the city he has not yet visited. He speaks with the confidence of a man whose success is not possible, but present. This is not madness. This is method. The subconscious does not wait for proof. It takes instruction from the image and the feeling behind it. When you marry clear pictures with intense emotion, you give the mind a command. Not a suggestion, not a maybe, a command. And the subconscious, which always obeys, begins shifting your being toward that vision. You will not notice it at first, but you will speak differently, walk differently, choose differently. And life, listening to the change, will begin responding in kind. Emotion is your fuel, and image is your steering wheel. One without the other is useless, but together they are destiny in motion. So from this day forward, do not merely see what you desire, feel it, live it, burn in it. Let your body tingle with its reality. Let your heart race with its presence. Let your breath quicken as though it were already here. Because to the subconscious, that is the proof it needs. And once it has proof, it begins its work. And its work, I promise you, is tireless. But you must feed it, daily, deliberately, devotionally. And to do that, you must learn to return again and again to the one chamber where all creation begins, the workshop of the soul. Imagination, imagination. It is not a child's toy, it is not a fantasy. It is not a distraction from reality. It is reality in seed form. You have been told to be realistic. But what is realism if not the result of a man's most dominant inner image? Imagination is not escape. It is creation. It is the place where thought is dressed in form, where desire takes on shape, where the invisible begins its journey into the visible. You cannot build a house without a blueprint. You cannot bake a cake without a recipe. You cannot create a future without imagination. It is the workshop of the soul. It is the drafting table of destiny. And most men walk past it daily without ever picking up the pencil. They wait, they react, they adapt, but they do not create. And so they drift, from job to job, from year to year, from one half-lived life to the next. Not because they lack potential, but because they lack vision. Imagination is not optional. It is essential. It is sacred. It is law. The subconscious mind is the builder, but imagination hands it the blueprint. And if you do not give it one, it will build by default, using the scraps of old fears, old memories, and other people's expectations. Let me make it plain. If you do not choose the image, the world will choose it for you. It will be chosen by the news, by your childhood, by failure, by comparison, by fear. And that image, though unwanted, will still be built. Because the subconscious does not wait for approval. It builds what it sees, and it sees what you give it. So give it what you desire, not what you dread. Give it what you want, not what you worry about. Give it what is worthy of your life, not what is left over from your past. See yourself walking in strength. See yourself waking in joy. See yourself rising each morning into a world shaped by design, not accident. Make the image rich. Make it specific. Make it emotional. Make it frequent. This is the recipe. Clarity, repetition, emotion. These three are the hammer, the nail, and the wood. With them, you may build a palace. Without them, you are left to wander in rooms you never meant to enter. Now listen well. You must return to the image often. Not once, not twice, but daily, until it becomes more familiar than your fear, until it becomes the native tongue of your mind. You do not rehearse it because it isn't real. You rehearse it because it must become real. And all things real begin first in shadow. This is the forgotten discipline of great men. To walk by inner sight until outer sight catches up. To dwell in the unseen until the seen must obey. To build in the silence until the world can no longer ignore what you've created. This is imagination, rightly used. Not as escape, but as command. Not as fiction, but as framework. Not as wish, but as work. And once this image is planted, once it is fed with repetition and fire, there is only one thing left to understand: why most men never see their visions fulfilled, why they doubt, why they drift, why they sabotage what they say they desire. It is time to open the door to the subconscious itself, to see why it resists, why it clings to the old, why it must be retrained before it can be reborn. And for that, we must now go into the chambers beneath the surface, where belief is born and where identity is shaped. You were not born with doubt. You were not born with fear. You were not born imagining failure. You learned it. You absorbed it. You rehearsed it until it became you. The subconscious mind was not your enemy. It was your protector. It accepted what you gave it and built a world to match. But here lies the great mistake of men. They believed that repetition was truth. They believed that emotion was evidence. And because they felt small, They believed they were small because they were told they couldn't. They believed they shouldn't. Because they failed once, they assumed they must. And the subconscious? It never argued. It never interrupted. It simply obeyed. Like a loyal servant, it took the orders delivered with the most feeling, the most frequency, the most certainty, and it made them law. It carved neural pathways into the brain. It built emotional walls around the heart. It constructed a life that matched the belief, even when the belief was false. This is the tragedy, that most people walk through life living inside a prison they do not know they built. The door is open, but they never look up, because the image in their mind tells them they are still trapped. And what the mind believes, the body follows. But now, you are beginning to see, you are beginning to understand that the enemy was not life. It was the picture, that your limits were not real, they were rehearsed, that your failures were not prophecies, they were patterns. And patterns can be broken, images can be replaced, the mind can be rewritten, but not with logic, not with argument, only with new images delivered with greater clarity, more emotion, and more repetition than the ones they replace. This is why change feels hard, not because it is impossible, but because it is unfamiliar. The subconscious does not prefer truth. It prefers familiarity. It would rather keep you safe in misery than risk the unknown of freedom. But once you show it a new image, and once you return to that image again and again and again, it begins to shift. The old picture loses its grip. The old scene starts to fade, and a new program begins to take hold. And that, my friend, is the moment of rebirth. Not dramatic, not explosive, but quiet, subtle, unstoppable, because the subconscious never changes in an instant. It changes through immersion. And the more often you feed it a picture of who you wish to become, the more that image becomes your identity. And once identity changes, everything changes. So I tell you this not to flatter, but to free you. You are not broken, you are rehearsed, you are not incapable, you are conditioned, and conditioning can be replaced with persistence, with fire, with vision. So now we arrive at the turning point. You know the law, you know the lie, you know the reason you were stuck. Now you must know the path forward. It is time to create the new image, to live in it, to walk in it, to command it. And for that you must act. Let me now tell you exactly what to do. Not someday, not soon. Now you must build the image. You must hold it. You must feel it. And you must return to it until the mind no longer doubts that it is yours. This is not theory. It is method. It is formula. And it begins with this. See the end. Do not imagine the steps. Do not rehearse the struggle. Do not wonder how it will happen. That is not your task. That is the work of forces beyond your conscious grasp. Your task is to hold the outcome, to dwell in the result, to live in the feeling of the desire fulfilled. See yourself already there, the body you want, the home you want, the peace you want, the success you want. Stand in the middle of it. Feel it in your bones. Breathe it into your lungs. Let your nervous system memorize what the future feels like. Second, make the picture clear. The subconscious does not act on vague wishes. It needs precision. It needs detail. It needs vivid color, clear sound, sharp lines. If you imagine wealth, where are you standing? What do your clothes feel like? Who is with you? What does the air smell like? If you imagine love, what are their eyes saying? What time of day is it? What is your heart doing in that moment? Paint the scene like a master. Leave nothing to chance. Leave nothing to blur. Third, charge it with emotion. Do not visualize like a robot. Do not whisper your desire like a beggar. Stand tall in the image. Laugh in it. Rejoice in it. Walk around in it like it was made for you, because it was. Emotion is the glue. It bonds the picture to the subconscious. Without it, your vision is a ghost. But with it, your vision becomes flesh. Fourth, repeat. Once is not enough. Twice is not enough. You must return again and again and again until the old picture dissolves and the new one becomes the only one your mind can see. Every morning, before the world enters, every night, before you drift into the land where images rule, enter the picture, close your eyes, step inside, walk around, Breathe deep. Feel it as now, not future. Now, you must do this until the vision no longer feels like pretending and starts to feel like remembering. Until doubt gives way to knowing. Until you no longer wonder when it will happen, because you already know that it has. This is how the builders behind the curtain receive their orders. This is how the subconscious is reprogrammed. Not through willpower, but through immersion. Not through words, but through symbols. Not through force, but through familiarity. And once that image is deeply rooted, it will begin to move mountains. You will speak differently. You will choose differently. You will attract differently, because you will be different, not through effort, but through identity. So do not delay. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. It will not. Pick up the brush. Paint the picture. Step into it. Again and again and again, until the image becomes inevitable, and the life you dreamed looks back at you in the mirror. You are not a beggar at the gate of destiny. You are not a pawn in some cruel game. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator, a projector, a transmitter of vision into matter. And the world you live in is not the limit of what is real. It is the echo of what has already been imagined. You were made to build, and the first material is not wood, not steel, not stone. It is the image, the picture you hold with reverence, the vision you water with feeling, the scene you revisit with discipline, with hunger, with joy. This and this alone is the foundation of all true change. Not luck, not chance, not the approval of others, the image. And you have known it before. You felt it as a child, when you dreamed without restraint, when you danced in possibility, when you painted without lines and believed it was real. Then the world taught you to doubt, to shrink, to be realistic. But I tell you now, it is time to return. Return to the inner world where all great things begin. Return to the sacred workshop where your new life is waiting for instruction. Return to the image, not once, but daily, fiercely, lovingly, until the man you see in your mind steps into your shoes and begins to walk the earth. And when he does, he will not recognize the life that came before, because it was never truly his. It was only the reflection of a lesser image held for too long. But now the image is new. Now the soul is awake. Now the mind is clear. Now the heart is burning again, and what burns within must be born without. So rise. Close your eyes. Picture it, feel it, claim it, live it. Think not in words, think in pictures, for that is the language of power, the language of the infinite, the language of the subconscious mind, and the blueprint of all things to come. Now go and build what only you can see.